Hello, folks. Welcome to the channel where I talk about web, node, and developer product related tools. Today, I want to give you a walkthrough of what are HTML attributes, what do they do, why do you need them, and then I'll be talking about HTML global attributes. I'll also talk about what are HTML global attributes, uh, and yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to cover in this video. Cool. So let's jump into the code here. So this is very basic HTML I have. You can take a look at here. It has nothing but just the plain text. So this is what it is showing. And yeah, so let's talk about what are HTML attributes. So HTML attributes basically helps you a lot as a developer. It gives you control onto the HTML tags and their appearance. So as a developer, you can control how they appear into the web page, what are their appearance, how do they look, all sort of that stuff. Why should you be using them or why do you need them is because they are very search engine crawler friendly, they are browser friendly, they are screen reader friendly. So you should stick to using HTML attributes over creating some CSS of your own, because that will help have accessibility into your application, and it will also help accessibility tools like screen readers and all sort of that stuff. It will even help search engine crawlers as well to understand what exactly is there in your HTML. So there might be some search engine crawlers that are uh, not yet supporting JavaScript. In that case, it will be very easy for them to understand your HTML, right? Uh, and yeah, so that covers why and what part of that. Uh, what are HTML global attributes, right? So before we talk about global attributes, you should understand that there are two types of attributes. First are global attributes, and other are restricted attributes that you can apply only on particular tags. For example, value is an attribute that you cannot apply on any tag like body, h1 or anything. They are restricted to only input tag. What happens if you add those attributes to maybe body or h1? They are simply ignored by the parser or the browser. So yeah, so those are restricted and global. So as you have might have already guessed, uh, whatever that is not restricted are global attributes. So attributes that can be applied on any element starting from HTML, head, title, body, h1, h2, h3, h4, input, span, div, whatever you name it, and you can apply it on that. So those are called as global attributes, and I'll be talking about a few essential global attributes that I feel are very needed at your disposal for you to understand and write better HTML code. So first of all is lang attribute, which I have already done a deep dive into. I'll link that into the description below. Next is ID, right? So ID is very, you might be already aware of it, but there are certain things that I want to show you. So ID is something that you are basically just adding a identifier. The ID is a short for identifier, right? So first of all, the requirement is it should be unique. So you cannot do demo, right? So let's see what happens if I keep them distinct, right? So I'll go to this. And inside this console, what I'll do is I'll simply say demo, and it tells me that demo is a global variable available for me in JavaScript, and that directly points to my h1. Why? Because I have added a ID to this, right? It's out. It is referring to the same object as of suppose I do document.get element by ID. uh, I can simply do this as well, and it's referencing to the same object, right? So yeah, but if you are debugging and you know the ID, it's very handy, right? So that's why I just wanted to show you this. Other things that are related to ID are mostly on the side of CSS or styling. So I'll skip that part for now, but I'll walk you through that as and when we move further in this series. Okay, next is again very tightly coupled with CSS. You might be aware of all these, but I will maybe create a separate video on style, class, and ID and CSS so that the whole breadth is covered there. This is very interesting. So now suppose you want to have a custom attribute, right? You cannot add anything like my custom attribute, right? It would be totally ignored by browser, right? So instead of that, what you can do is you can say data hyphen my custom attribute. So whatever after hyphen, you can type whatever name you want, right? And then you can give it some random value. Now, how do you access this, right? What you can do is you can simply go here, say demo dot data set. It should be data set, and it gives you this, right? So I can simply say, let me copy this my custom attribute, and it will give you the value, right? So this comes very handy whenever you want to associate a element or a element with some particular entity, right? So you may want to associate it with some user, right? So you can simply say user and then you can add some user ID here, maybe one, right? So it becomes very easy. So suppose now you have multiple H1s here, right? So you can associate it with two. This will be demo two, and then you can easily query using CSS or even using JavaScript. So it becomes very handy instead of traversing everything and then finding the second element of demo one, right? That would be very clumsy. You can simply query from this particular thing. So yeah, that's pretty much about data attributes. Then we have handy hidden. This is my personal favorite. I really like this because I don't have to create a CSS class for this. So I can simply come here and say hidden, and it will simply disappear, right? And it's very search engine friendly, CSS friendly, browser friendly, and it even helps you in achieve performance because first of all, browser won't have to calculate the CSS. Imagine you have a hidden class, then browser will have to parse your CSS, see that the element has a hidden class, and then make it disappear. So it will have to do a recalculation of everything, right? So it really helps in these scenarios. Next is dir. So suppose you are writing some Hebrew content into your code and you want to change the direction to maybe right to left, you can simply do that and it will go right to left, right? So it has now started from here to here. You might have noticed that it's still the text flow is still from left to right, but the orientation is from right to left. So the flow of writing the text starts from the extreme right and then it will keep on moving further. So how are you? If I type more name, hope you are doing good. Right? I can do something like this and then it will come, yeah, right? So the flow is other way around here, right? So if you see the question mark has came here, right? Now the problem is that since it's English, browser really doesn't understand how it should type those characters. But whatever are special characters or question marks, it will automatically understand those. So yeah, that's how DI works. Then we have content editable. So this is very good if you want to have some uh, editable content or you want to make some uh, particular div editable or HTML element editable. So as of now, In HTML, the only editable element is input. But how do you let user input into div, right? So you can simply say content editable, right? And then it will let user edit here itself, right? So I can type something like this. Now you see that flow of text is from right to left, right? As on when I'm typing, it's going from right to left. That's the RTL thing. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much I had. Uh, Feel free to send your feedback if you have any in the video description, comment section, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.